We're live?
Yeah, I went live. Welcome. You weren't eating anything good, were you?
No, just a Ricola.
Ricola! You can't say the name without everybody saying something back to you. What's up, everybody? Nice to see you there. Good morning. It's Lauren and Scott. We're here with you for day 2 of our Spirit Quest, and we're exactly where my mom thought I would be, under a bridge by a river. I can't afford a van, so I brought these guys with me. They'll protect me while we're out here in the elements. Everybody can say good morning, and we'll introduce everybody as we go around. As you come in, tell me where you're from, how's the weather, and also very important for our viewers, whether you're watching this live or if you're watching it on the replay, what kind of vibes you get from here. And before I tell you, any idea how this ties into the Columbus, Ohio story that we've already been a part of? All right, so we have Miss Kay again, our producer.
Good morning, everybody.
Fearless leader, and we're introducing a new player today.
Hold on, we'll get there.
No, we got to move everybody in. Trust me. Come on in. This is Bucky. Bucky is our historian.
Hi there.
He knows the ins and outs of this joint like nobody's business. So if I'm saying something, hopefully he'll be able to back it up, and he'll be able to thread the story for us on screen, no matter where we go today, which is going to be really fun. It's nice to meet you, Bucky. Thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate you.
So, Scott, you don't really know the extent to which Bucky has been involved in our work because you are in a cone of silence as we lead up to all the shoots.
I know nothing.
But Bucky Cutright owns and leads Columbus Ghost Tours, which is not only a super fun organization, but every time I'm reaching out to any legit site like the Fire Museum yesterday, if I drop Bucky's name.
I was going to say, if you need a name drop.
Bucky's the guy.
I put Bucky in the bucket and they let us right in.
What I love about Bucky, is he gets excited about this deep haunted history, but he is the first one to say, we don't actually have, this is a great story, we don't have any evidence of it. Okay. But he also, as a published multi-book author, has plenty of evidence he's going to use today. So I'm really grateful you're here today with us.
Yeah, thank you, Kay, for having me.
Bucky.
Pleasure. And so here we are. If you watched at home, Phantom Forensics episodes 1, 2, and 3, you may somewhat recognize where we are. If you haven't seen it, it's okay. Stay with us today. Then go back and watch episodes 1, 2, and 3, and you'll see how it connects. Lauren, you haven't been here before, but you did see the episodes.
I did.
Scott, as we were pulling in, your face was like, oh, we're going back there.
Yep.
Now, what's really funny is Scott's been telling me for a couple of days, sending me notes saying, I think we ought to go back to that park. Let's go shoot by the river, even if we do it at night. And I couldn't tell him, dude, that's the anchor of this whole Spirit Quest weekend. That's where we started.
I had no idea. So, and it's been calling to me, and I really didn't think we were going to come back down here to do this. So it's really important to me. During Phantom Forensics, we had walked about 50 yards from here. We were walking along the path here, and I could hear this woman screaming out from over here near the riverbank, and she was crying about her child, and I didn't quite understand what to make of it. I thought maybe her son or daughter was in the water, but she was very distraught like any parent would be. And it seemed like at the moment nobody really knew what I was talking about because I was just, coming up with information that was being presented to me. And then I think just a couple hours later, after a deep dive with our research team off screen, they found a story that really matched that from, you can tell I don't remember that well.
All right. So first of all, let's orient the viewers to where we are.
Okay. So if you want to show everybody, I guess.
So this is the train tracks. Did this used to be the Xenia Railroad with William Neal?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So viewers, remember yesterday we started the day at William Neal Cemetery. And by the way, if you're in Columbus and you have a chance to do the ghost tour of the cemetery where we were, whose name we're not going to mention, go with Bucky. He's awesome. That gentleman sold his stagecoach company bought the Xenia or founded the Xenia Railroad. Tell me a little bit about that.
William Neal started what would be the Xenia Railroad. He came from Urbana, Ohio, in 1812, and started a stagecoaching business here originally, and was incredibly successful. He built a big hotel that's directly across from the Ohio State House, and got into the railroad business. Yeah.
Excellent. And Scott picked up on railroads quite a lot during Phantom Forensics, and this railroad comes in and circles where the old penitentiary was, right?
Correct.
So if you, Mikey and Jeremy, turn around, you'll see we're in the sliver of park, the triangle with the penitentiary footprint is to our right. You can't quite see it because we're down in a little bit of a ditch. Straight ahead was one of the buildings where we had the apartment. There's the casket company straight ahead. And where we are now is the North Bank Park.
And what we're actually standing underneath is called the Bridge of Sighs, because whenever the penitentiary was here, as soon as passengers would hit this bridge, they'd see the penitentiary and gasp.
Oh.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Isn't that
So,
cool?
with the story with the woman, do you want to tell them where that went? Because that was a part
Right.
of...
So this whole idea of a spirit quest happened because, and y'all don't know, but we shot for 2-3 days to get those 3 half-hour episodes. And it was sort of a joke as we were going along, because as we were getting ready to shoot, Scott would write in his journal or tell me on the phone, I'm picking up this, or a wall of fire or something. And I had to play like neutral, like, okay, write it down, make a journal, because I couldn't tell him, holy crap, that's exactly the story we think you're going to track. And and as we were doing the Phantom Forensics shoot, there were about 20 extraneous things that I thought, not that I doubted that Scott that was legit coming up with them, but I didn't see how they tracked in our stories. And by the end of our 3-day shoot, it was all connected, which was crazy. But when you get into the shoot, life is a little bit more complicated, and the stories are more layered than you can put in there. So there was this sort of lingering thread of this woman in the park. And Scott, you may not remember it all because you have a tendency to speak in the moment, and then you're on to the next image, and I have to kind of be the archival.
It just
so
goes.
I want to remind you, not all of it made it into Phantom Forensics, but it's something that I shared with Bucky. And immediately after the shoot, I realized that I needed to follow every thread that you gave me. Today I'm really excited because yesterday was awesome, but today we're connecting the dots, which is why I'm so glad you're here. But what you came up with, and we're saying repeatedly, and Jeremy, you may remember, as we came over into North Bank Park, you kept pointing out to the river and you said, there's a woman, she's calling to me. And it's weird because sometimes you got images of people on the shore calling for help as if people were drowning, which we thought was probably the flood of 1913, and this whole area was a flood area, right?
Yes.
A lot of tragedy here.
It's correct. And actually, Scott, there was during the flood in 1913, there were 2 inmates that escaped from the penitentiary to save a woman who was drowning.
Oh, no kidding.
In the water right here.
And weren't they pardoned for their...
Yes.
So they did a good deed and they got released.
They're sentenced.
They were reformed.
Wow.
They were more worried about human life than their own selves. Well, I'm glad that happened. I hope they didn't do anything terrible, but I'm glad that they got let out
and
for
they
a
weren't
good deed.
released. They broke out of prison.
To do that.
They escaped prison to save.
Imagine going back to the warden and being
wow.
like, look, I swear to God, there was a lady drowning. That's why we got out. You think we tunneled back in here for fun?
Wow.
Right? They could have just made for it.
Yeah.
So
And they did the right thing.
we figured that you got a lot of different images, and you were saying that you felt like it was different time periods.
Yeah.
But you kept coming back to something that I didn't understand, and you didn't quite understand it. And you said, no, there's a woman in the middle of the river. She's calling from the middle of the river. And you said, doesn't make any sense, because of course, how could somebody call from the middle of the river?
Right.
You said, and here are the details, which didn't make it into Phantom Forensics because when I was, at the time, I didn't understand how it tied in. Serious abdominal wound you were feeling.
Yep.
She had a child that was 5 or 6, and you said, I'm really good with the ages of small kids because I sort of compare it to my kids.
Yep, that's my
Small
chart.
kids. And one of the things that you and I do when we're trying to hone in is what are they wearing to try and figure out clothing.
Yeah.
And I was expecting that you would come up with some like Little House on the Prairie pioneer thing, a skirt, a white shirt, and you kept saying, I don't understand the clothing. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, I don't remember that.
I know you don't, but I do, because that's not a normal response for you. You're very good and accurate. You may remember in Phantom Forensics, for example, your description of Derek the Gravedigger.
Yep, we're
His
going to talk about him
face-
today.
Oh, we are?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So anyway, so the clues, woman with severe abdominal pain, this child, 5 or 6 years old, you don't understand the clothing. Oh, and you were hearing muskets.
Yeah.
And what was so weird about that was in other locations, you would say gunfire rifles.
Yep.
But you specifically use this weird word, musket.
Which, for anybody who's never fired any kind of weapon, it has a much different sound than every other long barrel weapon. And I'm not a big gun person. I just know that there is a huge difference. So you would know if I shot 2 different ones, if one was modern and one was 200 years old, for sure.
So I reached out to Bucky and I said, Bucky, we got these weird threads. Bucky, you hold this. I'm going to switch places with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tell Scott
So yeah,
what he picked
I'm
up
just
on.
hearing this for the first time. I swear to you all. So I'm really excited to see what I was picking up on.
Okay. Well, Scott, this used to be the site of a Shawnee village called Skiunk, which is translates to Salt Lick Town. And in 1774, the Shawnee left. The Wyandot tribe had occupied the village. And as part of Lord Dunmore's war, Colonel William Crawford came to this space. It was October 19th, 1774, and he and his army surrounded the village, and they massacred them.
Oh my God.
And there was an island right over here, and there was a woman who, with her young son, tried to swim to the island to escape the massacre.
Okay.
And as they were climbing ashore, she was shot with a musket and killed.
God.
And her son, he managed to crawl to safety, hide in a tree trunk, and then survived the massacre. He's the only living survivor, or was. So I think that's
That
Probably
is
what you saw.
eerily.
And
And what
the-
year around was that?
1774.
This time of year, October, and we assumed she was a European settler.
Yeah.
But she was part of, so that the Native Americans that lived in this bend right around here. And by the way, the other thing you told me, Bucky, was at that time period, the river was wider and shallower. Before William Neal, our character that keeps showing up, we're right by Neal Avenue, we were at his grave yesterday. Mr. Neal donated a ton of property between here and what became Ohio State. And there was a lot of development upstream, and it changed the course of the river, dredging and other things. So the river now, Bucky, if I remember what you said correctly, is much deeper and narrower. But in 1774, this exact time of year, people could at certain times of day or tides literally walk to islands that existed in the middle. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so.
crazy.
Yep.
So
And she was Native American, so you wouldn't have understood the clothing she
that's
was
why
wearing.
it just, I had no reference for what they were wearing. That's really amazing. So to me, what is really like, you guys got to understand something. I can almost never document anything that's not modern, right? So things that happened in the 90s and the 2000s are easy. 50s, 60s, 70s, we can find newspaper clippings. To find something from the 1700s, first off, to find something from the 1700s psychically, how far back can somebody go then? How far can we psychic time walk, right? And then how did that woman from then, was she just calling out and I heard it? or did she see me because I had pushed myself so far, my energy so far back into this space?
But we said the son survived.
Yes,
Yeah.
So he has a legacy.
Yes, he
So I'm wondering, was it her or was it his memory reaching out to you? Because he still had a
Good.
connection to more modern time because he survived.
And
Good
not
call.
only that, but there was a man, Bucky, just jump right in whenever you. There was a man who was kidnapped, a white settler who was kidnapped as a child and raised by the Native Americans, who was a scout for this Crawford character, who was karma's a bitch, isn't a bitch unless you are. And he got his. Nobody cried when he had met his end, but anyway, so that scout was here during that massacre, survived it, and there's written accounts of that scout at an older age telling people, I was there then, this is what happened, and they wrote it down. In 1850, the history was written down.
I believe it was, 1858 maybe.
There you go.
That's really incredible. Like I would never expect to be able to reach that far back and have written documentation.
It's a very deep scar.
Yeah, it must be because I can still, even now while I was meditating before we started, I can still hear the pops from the muskets, and I recognized them, and I was like, they're still happening. So to me, that means that if somebody's sitting out here and they're coming for a really peaceful time, if they happen to be a little bit sensitive, they're probably not going to wonder why. They're probably going to wonder why they're so uncomfortable here, because it's so beautiful. You should feel very at peace and at ease, but there's such a deep thing that's still happening here. And I have a new character that made themselves available to me, and the gravedigger is walking around, and he's
Derek
the gravedigger is here.
He's back.
But what's really interesting about him this time, and I'm not sure where I'm catching him in his journey, but instead of the upright, strong, kind of malevolent sort of entity that he was being, he seems very beat and worn down now, and he's more dragging his shovel with him. And he said to me, there was too many. So whatever happened between then and now, it seems like he's exhausted from burying people or keeping things the way that they were. And that might have something to do with all of the threads we pulled and exposed so much. And even if nothing happened where people came here and did more investigation, I feel like some of the threads got pulled and it weakened the fabric to the things that were going on here that maybe nobody really knew about. And if we keep pulling at those and exposing the history and the truth of the things that are going on here, it might be releasing a lot of the trauma that was here. And there was a woman who kind of asked me, like, is it our turn to like tell our story now? And we're going to talk about her because she was interesting and I didn't expect to see her.
It was amazing. And it's also funny, I was laughing with you, Lauren, a couple days ago because Lauren is completely up to speed with all of the background research. It's only Scott who's in the cone of silence. And I was laughing with Lauren because Scott kept saying, we have to go to the park. There's something we want to talk about that one. And I'm like, I don't know if we have time on the schedule. Yeah, okay, we'll try. You know, I don't want to like, you know, because he's really good at telling. He comes up with stuff like, okay, but I'm telling you, it's coming really strong. We're going there no matter what. It's happening. I'm like, okay.
That was literally on my list. I was like, we have to go no matter what, at least to stop and say hello to them and let them know we didn't forget. So they're still, I see them. They're still here. They're still kind of stuck in that space. And I'm just going to let them know when we start that it's okay to move on if they want and that we recognize them, but it's up to them if they're going to leave. While we're doing that, I don't know if we're going to set up any equipment here, but I can tell you that as I'm watching and I'm listening, there's more people now that we're here in the spring. Maybe I can focus better because it's nicer outside. If anybody
6 degrees.
If anybody watched Phantom Forensics, it was 6 degrees and it was probably minus 16 right here on the river with the wind chill. It was miserable, but we still had to accomplish something just like now. So something that I was watching while I was sitting on the limestone meditating, I really opened up and I said, hey, if you have a story to tell me, why don't you come through? And there was a woman, and I felt as she was probably, I don't want to give a race, but ethnicity, she's a black woman, and she was making what looked like to be like a big kind of loaf of dough next to me. And I felt kind of like, as I was meditating, like I almost kind of accidentally landed in her kitchen area. but I felt like I was in like a wooden shanty or a shack. It wasn't very big. I could see the dirt floors and I could smell the earth. I felt like everything around me was very dirty and filthy, and I felt really bad. And she was like making her bread, and she said, this is to feed my, there were several children that I could kind of feel like were running around me. She's like, this is to feed all of the kids all week long. This is all I have. And this is how we lived a lot. And I was like, well, what is it that happened? And she's like, what didn't happen? Why don't you pay attention to the things that are happening right now? And it was really interesting. She kind of stepped in as a guide, to very gently kind of guide me as I was doing my meditation. And outside the walls of her shanty were there were people who were buried. They're not buried, but they were kind of just laying and near death. It looked more like a third world country than the United States. So I imagine that I was pretty far back. She just had on like a black, I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't a nice, it was like a, what's the right word?
House dress.
House dress? It could be, but it was tattered and it was beat up, and it was like many
Just
days
rags.
of, yeah, it was terrible.
And are you saying that she was here?
Yeah, she's very present. So she probably had some sort of structure that was out here somewhere that she lived in, but it was many of them. And I felt like there were several shanties or shacks, and she brought me outside and she said, look at the people. And there were people laying on the ground, and they were so, like, if you've ever seen any of these commercials where people are in and they want you to obviously support them, and they show people with like flies on them and stuff. That's what this was. There were people literally laying in the mud and they had like flies on them, and she's like, they died and nobody cares, or they're going to die soon and nobody cares because we can't do anything about it. And she kept talking. This is a thing that kind of came out of left field, and to anybody, I don't want this to be an offensive term to anyone, but I don't know a better way to call it. She said, and then we have these gypsies who come in here and they take what little we have and they cause havoc, and the police can't stop them, and they don't want to, they don't care unless they're coming up that way and bothering people. So it seems like just in and out of here was just crime, and no one cared. People were just passing. And I do remember the first time that we came here, I kept talking about like a lot of headstones and graves and stuff, and I don't, that's still very strong, and I don't know if it plays into our friends that were casket manufacturers, or if there's a cemetery around here that's unmarked. But she even alluded to it, like there's so much death here, and there's all of these people who passed, and it's just this thing like no one cared.
So this part of town, I'm so glad.
And that was all today, by the way. That's all new information I just got.
This part of town was called Flytown, right?
It was just Flytown was actually just north of
Just north. But this area was a really were there shanties here?
There were a few that were, no one wanted to live directly across from the Ohio Penitentiary.
Of course.
So there were, but there were several houses that were right along here, very small, very
And it flooded a lot,
impoverished.
so
Yes.
people didn't want to spend
Yeah.
good money on big houses.
No. This was not anywhere, and the river was a sewer back then, so you didn't want to.
Yeah,
Right,
and
of course.
You didn't want to live anywhere near the river, and then there would be infectious diseases that would spread.
That would make sense as to why so many people look so sick, because if they were using this as a water source at all, yeah. And back then you wouldn't know. I mean, you would know you shouldn't drink from the sewer water, but probably you wouldn't
Sickness
always
could
know.
go right through the
Yeah.
community. They
Yeah.
couldn't afford health care. Does anything else, any other details about what he said ring true to you in some specific way?
Well, I mean, the idea of gravestones in a cemetery. So the penitentiary had its own burial ground at one point, which has since been relocated, obviously. And there does happen to be a cemetery just over there on the other side of the river.
Is that the Pioneer
Yes.
Cemetery?
So maybe that's what they keep pointing me towards. Like it's a piece of something that we'll eventually have to check out, because they do keep, like, if anybody's never seen me talk about this, there's this weird compass that kind of I can feel and see that comes out of my stomach, and it guides me towards things. Like if I could walk right towards the cemetery without you telling me where it was, and I could just cross the river, I would probably just walk right to it. They're literally pulling me that way, and they were doing it in the wintertime also. So it's something important that maybe one day we'll be able to explore. In the meantime, I am very interested in if we can communicate with this woman.
Yeah, we have time, and today is all about giving voice to some of those threads that you have been talking about for weeks that I was pretending I didn't understand or didn't really want to pay attention to. Today is the day. So we have time if there's some equipment or just an activity that you want to do while we're here. It's quiet. We've got Bucky, so if you come up with any details that he recognizes, we can get. What's so exciting about today is it's all about validating these threads that I didn't understand until Bucky and I started to talk.
Well,
There's something that, so you know, listen, this is not performative. This is just what it is. There is something dark that is jutting around here, and it's watching us, and it's not happy about us talking about what we're talking about. We didn't encounter this at all yesterday. There was no opposition from any space. It seems to be something that is permeated down here. And the best way that I can say is, if you've ever seen a cartoon where the character is hiding in shadow and it can move lightning fast from strange hiding space to another, that's what's happening right now, and it's happening right back here. I'm just catching glimpses of it, and it's moving all around us and watching and taking notes. Not Derek. Derek is down. Derek is down over here scraping his shovel, being exhausted.
Okay.
Which is strange.
Scott, so you said you were sitting on the limestone whenever you were meditating, and you saw this woman making dough. Those stones are the walls of the old Ohio Penitentiary.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Right, remember we did the psychometry?
Yeah.
So with the stone tape theory, you know, there was a women's cell block in the Ohio Pen, and could it be that you were picking up on the life experiences of this woman that didn't necessarily take place in this location?
Right. It could be just something that is a part of it. Yeah. So I intentionally sat on the stone. Like, I was like, that's where I want to sit, because if any of the information is going to come out, just like it did during our first go
That's
around,
right.
that's where I got a lot of the information from the limestone.
Right.
It's a very powerful tool. So let's, what do you want to do? What are you thinking, pal?
I was thinking, let you sort of do your thing, and I could grab the thermal again and get some more readings.
Yeah,
with
we should.
The thermal, and also just because it's an open space, we will be able to see with our eyes if we are catching like an animal rather than
something
a
else.
possible anomaly. So
Yeah. Okay.
Just lock it
All right.
in your...
I think
Grab-
make it simple.
Yeah. Make it simple.
Yeah.
Do you
Lock
want
it
to
with-
use your SB7 also?
I don't know.
I need to double check and make sure that I have batteries for it.
Okay,
because
if
it
not,
ran out of
just-
battery yesterday.
If not, just grab, my one bag has the go
good.
stop.
Okay, it is
Radio?
that fully charged?
Yep.
Do we want to do it with
It's in a
headphones
neat-
or without?
Without, and it's
Okay.
in a neoprene case. Can't miss
This
it.
is
Thanks.
by the seat of your pants producing happening right now.
This is how
You're
we do
in the
it.
thick of it. This is how it goes. Hey, let's say hi to Julia.
Yeah,
You guys
come on
might
in.
remember Julia.
Come on and
So
say hi.
Julia
Oh, all right.
is
You got the
fresh
mic?
off a
Brett,
book tour.
She can't hear you. Hi.
Oh,
Nice to see you. Fresh off a book tour, everybody.
and
Author.
Julia was with us.
I got
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks. Good, say hi.
She lives nearby and was instrumental in choosing the location of our shoot and helping us with some of those initial
Yeah.
facts. And we love you and we're glad you're back.
Thank
and
you.
that could be here today.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
What's it? Tell them the name of your book real quick.
It's called Meet Me at Wonderland. It's a little bit of the opposite of what you're doing here today.
Not
It's
scary stuff.
a cheerful rom-com.
Yeah, not R.L.
but
Stein at all.
You're giving me new material to work with. You know,
Dance.
so.
Maybe R.L. Stein coming soon. We'll see. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming again. We appreciate
So
you.
good to see you all.
You too. Thanks. Here you go. So what we're gonna do is, if anybody's unfamiliar, for anybody watching live or the replay, Lauren is gonna go get her thermal camera, and basically what she's gonna do is focus it on me while I'm trying to speak with these people, see if there's any anomalous change in my body temperature. This doesn't prove psychic abilities or that ghosts exist, but it does show a physiological change when I start to get into that space, and it could change. My body temperature could change, and it does happen. So we're going to look for that, and then we're also going to use a spirit box radio, and that's more for you guys to see if we can get this woman or the children or any of the spirits that are wandering around here to give us any information that you could help us discern and bring you into this investigation. Now, also, before we started this, in the last couple of weeks, I asked many of you to please write in your own journals about anything that you thought we might pick up. in the last day and today, have you written anything that has to do with the stuff that we've covered so far? And if so, please put them in the comments. We have Corey in the back like yesterday. He is working hard. His fingers are sore. He told me yesterday he had to get 2 big Band-Aids and put ice on them and then ice his thumbs for hours because he was so busy typing back to you guys yesterday.
Is that true?
It is true. How can I possibly make that up? You think I have that good of an imagination?
No.
He took them off. He didn't want. He put sweatbands on them today. Go ahead. What's the question? Yeah.
Do we think that the little girl from the firehouse yesterday
Jamie.
was also from the park?
Oh yeah, Jamie.
I don't think Jamie's from the park. That's the little girl we encountered at the firehouse yesterday. Thank you for asking that and watching yesterday. I appreciate you. Although, again, children is a big theme here in Columbus. Now, this is a cool fact that none of you probably know. Just a couple miles to the right here is Dave Thomas's first Wendy's. And if anybody knows, Dave Thomas, his daughter Wendy was adopted, and that's how he named the store.
Dave was adopted.
Oh yeah, Dave was adopted, and
Dave was adopted.
But then I thought she was adopted too. No,
I don't think so.
maybe
No.
fact check me, internet.
Dave was adopted,
So-
and therefore he really supported adoption.
The adoptions, right? And now, so that's another person that was big on adoptions.
Correct.
And then you have
Well, you
Our big-
were picking up on Hannah Neal.
Hannah Neal, big on adoptions.
Neal's wife, who Bucky
Orphanages,
she founded
right? So it's crazy.
an orphanage here.
Yeah.
Right. Tell us about that.
The Hannah Neal House. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
The Hannah Neal house.
Yeah. She wasn't too creative either. So yeah, and actually, the very first poorhouse in the city was just right up here at the confluence of the Olentangy and Scioto rivers on the Neal's land. And,
Okay, so the point of that to say is that there's a thread of children,
Right.
orphanages, adoptions. Like, what here is why? Like, why is that? Why is there a concentrate? Like, this is where Lauren is important because we might have to have her look up the data points on this and find out. And that doesn't sound very spooky, but I got to tell you, there is something very spooky about the fact that a lot of orphans or people with the idea of orphanages and adoption are ending up in an epicenter. That's a strange anomaly. I can't think of a place I've ever been that I'm like, wow, this is a really strange thread, except for near my own house where a train runs by, and here comes the train now, so we're gonna have to be quiet.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you're gonna have to wait. It's a long one. Maybe it'll help kick up some of the activity. The iron on iron maybe is pushing the
that's okay.
EMF a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't figure out how to silence that phone because I just saw it last night. So yeah, so
It's making my anxiety go up, but that could just be from the loud noise.
It's still coming.
That's a very long train.
We're at the end of it now. Yeah.
It's good. It gives me time to tap into the person that's here.
I thought it was the end, but it must have just been one car that didn't have a.
Very long.
Lot of product.
So stay with us. Just waiting for the train to pass. It's unfortunate for the audio. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you that there is another man who just stepped forward right now. And as the train is going by, he's getting upset, and he said that there is a lot of opposition because I don't know this, they might have to tell me, he feels like another entrepreneur or businessman, and he's upset about the trains, and it's some sort of conflict, probably with Mr. Neal, where he wanted his trains to come through and they kept getting blocked. And I'm starting to hear him be very upset. And it seems like anytime some of these trains come through, that might kick up some of that emotion. Do we know, is there any kind of rivalry between Mr. Neal and somebody else that was in the area?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, it didn't happen until the train started rolling, where there was like this other guy that was like, that should be my train. And it's okay. Who are you? Let's talk, right? And it actually feels like, I bet you we could find out that there was some sabotage that happened with a lot of the train cars and the train tracks sort of under the radar, where this guy was trying to undercut and destroy some of the business that the trains were bringing in and out, because he was jealous that he wasn't getting the contracts for his stuff to come in the way that he wanted to, whether it was by train or he had a trucking company or something. But he's being very adamant about his business being destroyed by the railroad business of Mr. Neal. And he had some people that would do some things to try to beat up the train tracks or the carts themselves to undermine everything. And I have no idea where there's a rail car station around here, but that's another place where I feel like there's a lot of activity. As a matter of fact, as I'm connecting with it, my stomach is hurting from the energy that's coming from that.
There used to be passenger trains.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's
like in my mother's generation, but now it's mostly goods distribution. Is that right, Bucky?
Yes. And through Columbus, there's no passenger trains. However, there used to be a Union Station about a mile, maybe 3/4 of a mile to the northeast of us.
Okay.
Now that was demolished in the 1970s, and
that's the arch.
Yes. So it was that train station was designed by Chicago architect Daniel Burnham, and it was demolished despite an injunction from the Historical Society where it was supposed to be preserved. Here comes
Doing it live.
So yeah, whenever the Union Station was demolished, the arch was brought to a park just on the other side of these trees. So
top of that triangle.
Yeah.
Of the penitentiary green.
So what's funny?
Just north of where
They kept. This is funny. I don't know if anybody was watching my hands a little while ago, but I kept doing a triangle, and I was trying to figure out where I would find the shape that would be important. So
that's the grass. Although when we were
where the
there,
death house
it was covered
was?
with snow. It's literally on the other side of this little hill. Where that's where the penitentiary grounds were, where we walked in the snow. And at the far end of that greenery is this arch that was moved there from where the old train station.
Let's move down there out into the sunshine, away from the noise, so we can start running this stuff.
Okay.
I don't want to lose these folks. This is good history, but I want to see what happens when we start talking to this lady.
Okay.
And get away from this crazy noise. We'll be back for our stuff. Come on, folks. We're going to get away from the noise. Thanks for hanging out with us during that. You know, when you're doing live video and we're just out here in the wild, there's no stopping it. Obviously, for video production, we would just stop and wait for this 3-hour-long train to go. Jeremy, who's working the camera, would be really mad because that just is time eating. And I can see it on his face right now. He's smiling, but he was like, guys, how long was it going to take you to move away from the train? And I was just messing with him a little bit. I want to see how long he could take it. So it's getting a little bit better. These microphones are so sensitive, though. The problem is that they're still going to hear this. But now you can take a look and see all the cool artwork. There's a ghost right there. I see him. You guys see that ghost right there?
There he is.
There he is. That's Pinky. You want to stay away from him when you're playing Pac-Man. He's a very dangerous ghost. All right, so we're gonna have to wait to run the SB7, but let me stand a little bit in the shade so you don't get a little false
That's a long
heat
train.
signature here.
That's all one train.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Come on, guys.
Well, that was the second. That loud thing that went by was the second engine, I think.
middle.
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah.
Give it a little boost.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing a very reflective color too, so it's not like I'll be absorbing the sunlight standing here in black clothes. So, Bucky, come on over and hang out with me.
Yeah.
Lauren's just going to be off screen or on screen, but you need to be able to see me. So Lauren, the scientist, is still going to measure this, and I'm going to get myself nice and quiet, despite the train, and see if I can get this lady to talk to us.
Yep, I will. Yep. Here, well, you can do a baseline if you want to, real quick, and I'll tell you what I'm looking for. So, just like if you were on live yesterday, right? So if you were on the live yesterday and you saw at the train station, what we're looking for are changes in his chest, changes in his neck, and changes in his hands as he is channeling and doing this reading. And I'm recording it, so I'll be able to show everybody as well too if we see some changes.
Why did the screen go from yellow to like that?
So
Going from yellow to
there's
blue.
a spot right here that is taking a core temperature in the center of the screen. So if you move it around a lot, it will calibrate and it won't know what it's doing. So if we're nice and still, if you're somebody who uses the FLIR, you can account for those little small deviations while it is collaborating. It doesn't mean anything other than the fact that I'm just moving. So, but you are still able to take accurate data. It's just one of those, you have to look at something for a really long time to get used to how it acts.
Want to pass that back?
Yep. Thank you.
So what's happening is I just grounded myself. I'm trying to forget about the noise of the train and focus on the noise of the gunshots again, because those are a very easy thing to tune into. And as that's happening, I'm starting to even smell and experience some of that space. As a matter of fact, I'm being put into this space with no shoes on, and I'm standing in mud. So you guys kind of have an idea of what I'm kind of seeing and feeling. And this woman who is reaching out, she's still there, and it seems like she's so focused into that space of trauma that it doesn't feel like anymore that she was specifically looking for me, but just reaching out for any help, a loud cry into the world to save at least her child. And that's exactly how I felt that first time, that wild plea for help. So I'm gonna ask her, I'm gonna see if I can push over to her. Now I've put myself next to her. I'm sitting with her. And it's almost like talking to a statue. She's really unaware that I'm trying to communicate with her. And it's almost like she's saying, not you, not you. And she's pushing the child further away. So whatever's happening is being advanced, or like it being advanced on. And I don't know why the water is stopping anyone. It doesn't seem that deep, and I'm standing in mud. Unimportant, unimportant, unimportant. So whoever was chasing this person, these people down and got to the river, they got too far out, and it feels as though these people didn't want to go into the river and go through the trouble. They're saying it's too wet. We don't want to go in there. She's not a threat. And they're sort of turning around. What's happening is, while that's going on, I'm being kind of fast forwarded through that time, and I feel this desperation of nobody coming to help, and this sort of loneliness that's setting in. And even though it seems very peaceful and quiet now where I'm at, I can still smell all of the. I'm not going to get too graphic. I can smell everything from the day. It's pretty bad. There's a lot of the smell of spent black powder in the air. There's a lot of energy from the hostility and the anger and the trauma that went on. And this woman is just laying out there exhausted without any hope. And basically, I don't think that anybody ever even maybe retrieved her from the river. So she may have just passed away out over here and never got brought back. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I don't feel her being pulled back. And that might be part of the reason why she's stuck there without any proper send-off or anybody to miss her, except for her son, who probably never came back here. I know I wouldn't have. And there were people there's like, as I'm looking at the days after that, there are people who went looking for other people there. So there was like scouts or something maybe, or maybe not scouts is the right word, but like, what do they call it? Like a search party for lost people? So that's sort of happening as well. And people are walking back and forth, but it's not a very organized thing. And it was kind of like, see if you can find anybody that's still alive that we can help and bring him back. And that's all of the things that are going on right now.
Okay, well, so whenever Colonel Crawford massacred the people of the village here, it was October 19th. It was late in the season. It was in the fall. Many of the men from the village were out on a hunting expedition, and it was mostly women, children, and the elderly that were slaughtered here. So, whenever they would have returned and found their village in ruin, I would imagine they would be the ones that would be out,
party.
Yeah, looking.
So when I'm reaching out, even though I can hear her, reaching out to her and she's like, not you, I may still be appearing as a threat because I'm a man. Mm-hmm. And these are the people who are doing all the damage to their village and killing everybody. So that's a
white man.
And that's a rough, that's a rough spot to be in.
Yeah.
And even though I kind of reached that hand out, she's like, not you. And I understand that because you don't want help from people who are hurting you. So
yeah.
But is there any way that we can help you move or feel better or cross? She's like, no. I can't scream the way she screams. She's like, no. Adamantly no. So again, I can't move anybody on. I don't force people to move on. She's there, and it will be her decision when the right person comes to help her. She'll find the help that she's looking for, I hope. I'm not it, but at least I know that now, with the time that we've been allotted, that I could talk about it and let you know this story. If you ever find yourself down here, you can think about that in this beautiful park, the tragedy that happened. And that's part of the beautiful thing of the history and the paranormal working together, is the repercussion is still here. It didn't go anywhere. They built a beautiful park on top of it. It doesn't stop the terrible thing that happened right here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's really important for us to remember. Now, this other character that is walking around, if anybody's familiar from the Phantom Forensics, do you know anything about any well, this is going to be a weird one. You probably heard me talk about it, but this gravedigger entity, I don't know if he's a real person. He told me his name is Derek, and he seems to have been somebody who did some like really dirty, underhanded things for people. Like he could have been like a murder for hire, but he also got rid of bodies. And I think that this feels like During the day, you could hire Derek to bury your loved one, and at nighttime, after he had a pint or two, you could probably get him to go out and do some yeah, and maybe get rid of those things in open graves. That's the like impression I get from this fella.
I'm not familiar with any personality by the name of Derek as a villain from Columbus's past. However, grave robbing was a very big business in Central Ohio in the 1800s, because there were a lot of medical colleges here, and the best way to teach is to show, but few people donate their bodies to science.
So you had to get somebody to get you a cadaver.
So if you're talking about open graves, you could very easily be referring to someone who made their living by digging up the dead.
What if
some weird patents? The torpedo,
the coffin torpedo. Yes, yeah. There was actually there was a local artist and inventor, Philip K. Clover, that patented in October of 1878 a coffin torpedo, which was a device you'd arm your dead loved ones with so they could fend off anyone who tried to open their grave.
Bingo!
I knew Lauren would love that.
I need me one of those when I go. Mm-hmm. That way, if anybody comes to me.
Engineering genius based in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
All right, so why don't we did you bring the spirit box down?
Sure.
Cool.
Did.
Let's run that and see if we get anybody around here to talk to us. Any strange anomalies in the thermal?
So what I was doing was checking. There's
Wait.
Come on close to us.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Spiritually speaking, what I was doing was checking. There are energy centers, spiritually speaking, but also they are connected to different medical anomalies in the body called your chakras. So your crown, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus. And I was sort of just trying to take some reads as you were reading to see if there were any changes in those energy centers. So that's something that I record, and then I go over. It takes multiple readings while you're reading to do all of those in different environments, outdoor, indoor, things like that. So
Right. Cool.
So we'll find
find
out.
Okay.
Luckily, we have
Oh, shoot.
It's okay.
Got it.
They're not gonna
So
break
good
it.
at holding things.
I'm not
Obviously.
so good at.
No, I'm
Holding
terrible
things
at
either.
holding things.
All right, so let's so for our viewers, while I was doing that, was there anything that you guys were picking up on while I was connecting with that energy? Is there anything that you could think about that we could do that is not invasive, or where I can not push them out? We can always say a little prayer for them, not saying that they have to go, but saying like, hey, we're saying some peaceful things for you, and hopefully you understand that. Corey again is off screen working the phone for us, so he'll let us know if you have any questions about that. Go ahead.
So, some spirits, when they die, will continue to relive their death forever, or at least until they are able to cross over?
That
Why
so
don't you repeat the question again?
question from the comments was, do spirits are spirits doomed to relive their trauma of their death, or do they have the choice to cross over? So it's a really strange thing. I couldn't tell you either way. I've run into spirits like this before where they're absolutely stuck in that trauma of the death state, and I've also been to intersections where the most horrific car crashes I've ever seen happen or know about, and there's nobody there. So it seems to be a little bit of a personal choice, but I have to. This is where Lauren's not going to like what she's very open, but a lot of people aren't going to like what I have to say.
If it's not my business, it's not my
I
business.
don't. I believe that there are spaces that have energy that can trap souls, and I think this is one of those places where there's an energy that exists that can hold human souls when they pass in certain ways. And not only do I think that they can do that, but I think many times they're the cause of the turmoil in places that there shouldn't be any. There's
Are you
reasons.
talking about like a soul catcher or a geographic?
Yeah, it's like a soul catcher. Like there's something embedded in the energy here, and it's ancient. People might call it an elemental. They might call it the D word. There's a lot of words that people might use. I just call them soul collectors. They seem to be able to capture somebody at their lowest point when there's a crack in the armor and hold on to you. And sometimes they don't let you go, and they will get you to do things for them to the living. And I've encountered that several times along my way here. I've talked to other mediums. This is a very common idea. And when I formulated this idea, it was not something that I saw on television or I saw somebody else talk about. I did so many investigations where I just kept running into the same explanation from these human spirits that were like, we can't leave, there's this thing, and they don't have a name for it. And they're like, it just holds us. and it makes us do things, and we just have to do it because it's so much more powerful than we are. So do I think that's an absolute fact? I don't know, but I know that's my experience, and I'm willing to work with that idea. And I think it happens here. I think it's part of what's jutting around here and watching us right now. So
Interesting.
yeah, I've dealt with it before, and again, I don't think it's a unique thing for here. I think it's in a lot of places. And
You talked about that a lot when we were upstairs.
yes, and I
that
think
whole thing.
yeah, I think that's a part of it. So I think that entity or piece of that entity could be down here right now watching us. So it's funny when people ask me I really wish I had your gift. Believe me, it's so much work to shut it off because I see this stuff a lot, and if I just open myself up, you would be terrified to see some of these things, and it's a lot to be like, okay, it's not important to me at this moment. I'm not going to engage with it, but I'm aware of it. And that's today we're engaging with it. We want to know what's here. So we're going to turn this on in a minute. For anybody who doesn't know, this is similar to the SB7 Spirit Box. It's just the spirit radio, scans through the AM, FM stations, and we think that spirits can pick out words or manipulate the waves in order for us to get answers from them. Is that accurate?
That's pretty good.
Thank you.
It's
That's
all
pretty good.
theoretical.
Yeah, very theoretical.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of the basis.
Test
Why I love
box.
radio waves.
And Scott, you said something about you're particularly interested in things that appear 101 and lower.
Well, only
101 and lower are the messages that you like.
No. So basically what happened was, for anybody who was watching us in the cemetery on Friday or yesterday, we were noticing that on the radio band that they're, for some reason, up in the higher over 101, where that's a very popular end of the frequency or the radios.
Add to that.
We weren't getting anything, which is strange because it just picks up radio waves. So if there's a 106.3 here, like everywhere, we should get something, but it was just white noise, which was strange. So what do you think?
You were saying the high 101s, and when we
Yeah.
were in the cemetery, it was the 8 7s to 8 9s for me, the 3 digits that were white noise.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really
And
cool.
those are more typical because they're like the college stations, right? They don't have a lot of wattage. The higher up in the, at least where I'm from, and the higher up you go in the radio station, the more wattage generally it has. But left of the dial, so to speak, anything under like 92 is just college stations or just cruddy little, think stations.
Though
and
I
then the
will
bigger
say,
ones
if
are
you
the
do have things coming through, because I also tell people play with FM but also play with AM, because sometimes depending on the theory that you're going with when it comes to using spirit boxes, some people think it's the radio waves specifically, so it has nothing to do with the actual stations. Some people think it's manipulating the voices in the stations. So it's play with both and figure out what theory aligns best with how you're exploring, and don't solidify a rule, because there's not a ton of rules with this stuff, guys. We're exploring unknown stuff. So play with it, experiment with it, repeat it.
Yeah, exactly. We're making all this up as we go because this is what we all do, and we're just
Right?
trying to figure it out.
That's the best
Way
to do
and
it.
it's about your experience. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and kick this on. Bucky, you've used these before?
Yes.
You're a ghost hunter,
More of a paranormal historian, but occasionally, yes.
paranormal historian.
This morning he's
My
a
man.
ghost hunter.
This morning you're a ghost hunter.
Yes, yeah.
All right, so
But I do.
You could knight him with the antenna.
I-
you have been
when
knighted
we're
with
done,
ghosts.
we'll knight him. Sir Bucky.
I'd be honored.
Fantastic. All right, so I'll tell our viewers, if you have questions that you specifically want me to ask, please do so. This is supposed to be very interactive. That's why I have Corey here. And Corey, if you see some dingers, you and Kay send them our way, okay? Because I can't think of all the questions myself. I'm getting old. All right, but we'll start with the easy one. To the spirits that are here, specifically the woman and the child that I keep encountering here in the river, I appreciate your time, and I say thank you. I invite you to come up into our circle. We're all friends. I know we look different than you, but I promise you we're here with the best intentions, and we want to help you if we can. So if you can just come towards us, this does nothing more than let us hear you. It's a spiritual communication device, okay? So can you tell us your name? It's going a little fast. Okay. Can you tell us your name? That was a weird voice.
That was a weird voice.
What do we know? Do you have any idea what that said?
I heard like live randomly.
That was a really
Yeah.
dark, deep voice that went live. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm looking to speak with the woman, but if you're the dark entity, which you sound like you are, you can talk with us too.
Thursday, September 18th.
Thursday, September 18th. That's an advertisement. All right, we're gonna go faster.
I was just about to say that. Get out of my head.
What is your name? Why is it so fast? I feel like it's going too fast for everything. Okay. Where are you from? I came
First, I thought I came first.
I came first? Okay. And if you guys out there hear something, put it in the comments. Can you repeat where are you from? Cell? Oh, fell? I thought I heard cell.
Fell or sell?
I thought I heard south.
Okay, so we all heard different things. That's pareidoia. So can you please reiterate, can you tell us the location you're from? Bucky, what do you got?
I didn't get anything from that.
All right. What question do you have?
Okay. Can you let us know when you were here?
I heard 17.
Searching. Exploration. So, again, we were talking about a search party, and that was around the 17.
I was just about to say, I was like, I
Hundreds.
heard 17,
Yeah.
And then we
but
heard
I didn't.
searching
Yeah, it was 17.
and exploratory. So that's important. Remember, everybody, when we go back and listen to this, we have a second camera and our audio
I know,
running.
and we can,
We're
like,
going to be able
slow
to
it
go.
down.
We'll be able to go back and pull this stuff out. But if you guys are hearing it in real time, please tell us. Anything back there, Corey? Any questions?
We all seem to think it's the dark entity that's trying to come
Okay.
through on the radio.
So-
That's the most we've got.
Let's see what. So, to the possibly darker entity that's here with us, who are you?
I know this is like a Discord over.
Yes. What's your name?
There's another
Yeah.
deep.
Another deep voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel myself turning into an Estes person.
Tell us what your name is.
I heard 2 syllables.
Yeah, it was like Kaob or something.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
What did you say?
It sounded like Kaob or something like
It
that.
was like 2 syllables.
Yeah,
syllable.
yeah.
I hope it wasn't that's 3. But yeah, that's a very interesting noise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, what is your job here? Crowd.
Loud.
Difficult. What's your job here?
Dead.
Maybe that's not the right question. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to know if its job is to trap souls.
Oh, is it a soul?
I was going to ask
Yes.
it its purpose. Yeah, instead of
Yes.
its job. Is your purpose here to hold souls? Or myself? Yes, right?
Yeah.
So how many souls are you holding here then? I heard the word vial. How many souls do you hold here? 5?
Something like either 25
Or 5. Okay, so we both heard a number answer. So to get a number answer for everybody who's watching, I'm asking a number, and to hear both of us hear a number, whether it's 25 or 5, the answer should be 0, and there should be no answer at all. Right? Okay. Why are you holding any souls here? What do you got?
So I'm just interpreting what we've heard so far, and,
Okay.
and thinking about it and the history of this space. There were some prison guards that were incredibly vile human beings, and they did unspeakable things to the inmates at the penitentiary that was just across from where we were at.
Right.
And the stone from that is, steps away. So I'm kind of feeling like it might be one of those people, a prison guard.
Okay.
Because they would keep people.
Yeah.
Bad guy in life and a worse guy. in
There was a device, a disciplinary device at the penitentiary called the hummingbird, and it was a metal coffin.
What?
That, if the guards didn't take kindly to you as an inmate, they would take you. It was actually in the basement of the Catholic Church. It was on site of all places, but they would strip you naked. They'd place you in this metal coffin with 15 inches of ice water. Then they'd close the lid, and you'd be shivering until they blasted hot steam into the lid, and any part of you that was exposed above the water would be scalded. Then they would electrify the box. Then they would blast hot steam. Then they would electrify the box. They would repeat that. So until the inmate would acquiesce to any, demands that the guards made. So
Can you imagine that?
yeah. So when we're talking, this was in the prison was here from
Obviously, you just said electricity
yeah.
as well. So
Yeah, so it would have been the late 1800s whenever they would have incorporated the hummingbird.
I'm no longer surprised by the atrocities.
I
of
know,
man.
human beings are terrible.
Yeah. Newsflash.
Can you imagine?
Surprise.
Breaking news.
Yeah, wow.
but,
That's a medieval torture device in modern times.
Yes, yeah.
They still exist too.
Yeah.
Not those, but like
other kinds,
torture
yeah,
devices in
of
modern
course.
times still exist.
Yeah, so for me, hearing this, that deep voice, and it was saying, if it's trapping souls, and it said the word vile,
Yeah.
and I think that the guards would see these inmates as less than human,
Sure.
something less than human that they could treat however they wish. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of aligns with the soul catcher as well. In
It
a
does,
certain
yeah,
way.
because they were capturing them while they were alive.
Yes, yeah.
For anybody who might have seen me smile for a second, there's a beautiful dog over here. I was not smiling at what he had to say. That was terrible, but I like dogs a lot, and I can't help it. So that is really incredible. I had no idea about the torture coffin. That is crazy. So that's a good piece of information to know, just because it might come up again. It's called the hummingbird. Wow, that's something we should just look into.
Yeah.
I might get one for me,
Get out of here.
just to look
Oh
at.
my gosh.
All right, so
Do we have a question?
yes.
So, speaking of the prison guards, could, their souls have fused together to form like one big?
So that's a good question. Yeah. So
serve like all the same force.
Is it a possibility the prison guards or the prisoners became one? So from doing readings with people, good readings, lighthearted readings with family members, sometimes your family members come through and they're kind of like a ball of yarn and their personalities get mixed up. So I have to kind of pull at the strings and pull them apart from each other, and that's how I see them. So is it plausible that on the other end of this, that dark, mistreated human souls could be doing that same thing? In my opinion, yes. I've done readings where I've seen I don't know what you guys all feel about hell or the other side, but I've seen people who were accused of atrocious things come to readings in spirit form, and they looked like kind of like the monster we saw at the end of season 3 or episode 3 in Phantom Forensics, just blobby, oozy, nasty, formless things that are still human, but they've lost all their humanity and all the things that made them a moral, good person. So if that can exist for one soul, imagine if there were 20 human beings that loved going to work every day because they get to put people in the hummingbird. So I think that could definitely turn into that. But then I always ask the question, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Is this area permeated with something that is causing all of this? Like, they built a casket company here. They built a penitentiary here. They had a town full of people that were neglected and derelict. And then we came along now and we're like, this is a river. We should build something nice here. And we bulldozed it all. And now it's beautiful. So the people who are walking by enjoying their family right now, they have no idea the crazy things that we're talking about that happened here most likely. So what came first, and will it happen again? History repeats itself.
Let's hope not.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So we are about done with this location
Okay.
for the morning, and we're going to take that was really intense.
It was.
At 1 o'clock we're going to start at a different location. I'm so glad you're here. If I didn't say it in the last 10 minutes.
Well, thank you.
And viewers, we really appreciate that you're telling us you love Bucky here too.
Thank you.
Bucky is the
thanks.
historical validation. In a similar way that Lauren is our scientific validation, I know that what you're
I'm the
saying.
wild card, baby. I can say whatever I want. And as long as it meets the parameters, they'll let it go to air.
There you go. So we're going to come back at 1 o'clock today for a live. And it's going to be about 2-3 hours, and that's going to wrap up our spirit quest. But I really, if you can, come by at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
We are going to wrap it all together. If you can't come by at 1, the live stream then almost immediately goes online. You can watch it later.
Yep.
But if you're there in the live, you get a chance to interact with us through Corey.
Ask
Thank you
questions,
for staying.
show up, share to your friends and family. Your significant others watching football, you don't like football, hang out with us, because I'm not footballing today, or ever actually. I'm always just doing ghost stuff.
So 1 o'clock. Now, the other thing is, if you're in the Columbus area, we were telling you about that before, at 6 o'clock tonight, we're doing an eat and greet with Lauren and Scott and Bucky. If you're hungry and want to come with us, you'll come too.
But you can greet me.
I can tell you now, it's at the Little Grand Market, which is the food court in Grandview Yards. If you were with us for Phantom Forensics, it's where you and Dalen Spratt did your meet and greet. It's really a fun place. There are lots of fun little food booths there. It doesn't cost anything to come see us. Just walk in. You'll know where we are. We're just in the middle there. You can park anywhere around. From 6 to 8 tonight, come eat and greet. Scott, you tend to go live a little bit with that. Say hi. And,
let's make sure we're saying hi to everybody for sure.
So please come by if you can. Grandview Yards. It's about 10 minutes from where we are right now, up Route 33. But if you're looking in the GPS, it's Little Grand Market.
They
we'll
have a
see you
bar.
hopefully at 6 o'clock. They do have a bar, but don't
Fly
drink
down.
and drive. We do have a police officer with us.
I don't know where he is.
So we'll see you at 1 o'clock, and hopefully we're going to see you at 6 too.
Yeah. See you later, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.